during which we got into this solar street lights, integrated solar street lights with lithium ion batteries, which can harvest these solar energy during the day, store it, and reuse it in the night. We came across different products. We evaluated different products, and we found the Sunsafe product from Signify Philips is more suitable for our usage. It's very compact in design, and it has got a dual sensor, a daylight sensor as well as a motion sensor, and it has also got a dimming feature, which helped us to use this product widely across our facility.
For networking and connecting with each other. So right now, it would be really great if you all could just respect the sessions here and take your seats, and we could maintain the silence in the back. All right. Okay, so I'm quickly going to introduce myself. My name is Rashmi Naikar. I am the editor with the Commercial Design magazine. All of you all here have got the agenda and the understanding of what this evening is about and what we're going to be talking about here. I'm not going to waste much time on that. I know we are late, and I'm extremely sorry on that behalf of ITP and my firm, my team. We are sincerely sorry. There was a lot of traffic, and we kept getting calls that people were reaching in. But I'm going to quickly start in and welcoming you all on today evening, being in working day, to the 16th edition of the Smart Office Summit. Now, Smart Office is a term that we've kept listening on and on again, time and again, and it has so many different iterations. I was just speaking to Mr. Murli from JP Morgan, and he mentioned it so beautifully that there was a time where we were vying for lead certifications, USGBC, IGBC, and now it's come to net zero, where it is not just about procuring green products, but it's also about managing the entire life cycle of that green product. With this, and these are the little things that we get to understand from some of the speakers who are from just phenomenal firms with phenomenal work on their belt. And it is such an honor and a pleasure that they have taken out their time to join us here today. With this, I'm not going to take much of your time now here, and I'm going to quickly invite Mr. Vibhor Srivastava, who is the Managing Director for Events at ITV Media India, to deliver the open address for this evening. Vibhor, please on stage.
Very good evening to all of you. So very enjoyable to see a hall with this classicity. Every time when we come to Bangalore, we come for this event because this has been very special to me. What started with a long journey in 15 years, but commercial design has been able to navigate the, the clutter that exists and to make yourself prominent, different, distinguished, and meaningful is rest on primarily that how well you are making the information dissemination, which is as a media house, is important and imperative to stay credible, and stay meaningful. But all of this has been possible without a tireless work of some of our exceptional team members. So please give a hand to Rashmi Naikar, a young editor on my right. She is the role of academics. In Vicky Saudi, our new publishing director, and the young one, Priyanka. Because they saw the spot here, and we felt that this country, when we looked at about a decade back, we never did understand what is the office segment really. And all our research held and says and directs us that this is going to be the fastest growing industry vertical. And this room, all the ecosystem, people involved in the office spaces here, is going to grow as per the research 35% with annual CAGR, and which is not astonishing. Look at this beautiful city, Bangalore. And if we jog your memory 10 years back, we were not talking. Is that right? Fancy, you agree with me? A decade back, we were not talking. But today we are talking. We are making impressionable image in the industry. And a lot of people across the country should take a leaf out of this Bangalore city, the way the offices have come, the way the ecosystems have come, the way they embrace technology, the way they've really understood what will be the turning point to look at an agile, smart, and efficient office, which is the primary objective, irrespective the asset owner, is the inhabitant. Which you give us space, which will allow people to flourish, which will allow people to seamlessly work and collaborate and deliver the best. Such has been the journey for Bangalore. And people who are watching the rest of the country, take a lead from Bangalore, take a lead from these exceptional designers. So give yourself, don't be conservative. You definitely deserve it. If I have to give whatever I learned, I have to give people in this room. This city has really gifted me to understand this space and harness the potential that it holds today. Ladies and gentlemen, I was just browsing at the flight when I was taking a flight from Mumbai. You have an enormous task. The companies are facing a lot of challenges, and I was talking to Vikas, my friend, a while back. Look at the generational back, the conventional workers, and look at the millennials, and look at the Gen Z. And Samiksha said something very nice. Gen Z is ready to sink or swim. Is that correct, Samiksha? And I echo these. But look at the task of you people. conventional workers, I would call myself one, as much I would like to be like the young ones. At heart, I am young. But their ask was very different. Conventional workers, conventional rewards. But the Gen Z, born after 1997, they were asking different things. They wanted offices with well-being. They don't want to be changed. How do you manage to make sure that conventional workers on my left and the right, Gen Z, come together and work? And this is what you deliver. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for what you're doing here. Thank you for making each one of us proud. And thank you for raising this flag and soaring it high. Like they say, Semper Sutram, sky is the limit. And I want to thank immensely all our partners, all the brands. If you see the brands, they have been able to navigate research both nationally and internationally to give you designs, to give you the asset owners, to give the APMC that cutting edge which makes you go ahead. So a big round of applause to each and every partners, truly incredible brands. Thank you very much. Like you, I'm here to learn, and I'm sure with the battery of prolific speakers in this room, there are going to be tons to take away. Thank you very much for being such a lovely audience.
Thank you so much, Rupert. Now to take this forward, just as we mentioned, events like this and platforms such as this is absolutely not possible without the support of our industry partners. And one such a partner with here us is Signify, who is our presenting partner. And I would love to call on stage Ms. Deepa Lopal, who is the specification sales head South for Signify Innovations India, to quickly come on stage and give us a quick brief and glimpse into what Signify, lighting company, which is such an important component in this segment, a quick brief, what do you say, good glimpse into what this is all about, the lighting that we are innovating here. With this, Deepa, I would love to call you on stage and take this over.
Thanks, Rashmi. A very good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and a warm welcome to the Smart Office Summit. It's indeed a lovely evening, and thanks to ITP Media for curating this event, for bringing together the curious and the creative minds, along with the decision makers, all under the same roof, who have immense knowledge in all aspects of building designs, workspace design, and also maintenance. Before and team, a great job done. Thank you for being such wonderful hosts. It will indeed be a great evening today, where we will have a lot of knowledge sharing and understand the changing dynamics of workspace requirements as well as the designs. And with the takeaways, we as OEMs will be able to innovate products which will bring your creativity into the real world, and also keeping in mind the client's budget. So without further ado, I will start my brief presentation with the AV. Can I have the AV, please?
At Capgemini, sustainability is a topmost priority. We want to be carbon neutral by 2025 by reduce and offset energy use, water, waste, travel, and commute related impacts. Bangalore EPIP campus is the first net zero energy campus.
Sorry for the earlier goof up. So as you see, signify is the meaning of light. So we are the erstwhile Philips Lighting, who are Signify now, the world leaders in lighting. So we are the world leaders in lighting. We provide high quality, energy efficient products, systems and services. Sustainability is our core business, and we are carbon neutral since 2020. These are the markets which these are the brands which we market in India. Philips and Ecolink for professional business, Philips Hue and Vis for the residential segment, Interact, which is our wireless lighting management system, and Dynalight, which is a wired management system. color kinetics, and uni for facade. We also have other specialty brands, which as and when, based on the requirement, we can bring it to you. For the B2B, the products, what we offer are Philips. We also have lighting systems, which is Interact and Dynalight. Professional lighting services, we also take AMCs and do the SITC of projects, especially the lighting management system and the facade. Our purpose is to unlock the extraordinary potential of light for brighter lives and a better world. So our product innovations are based on a tagline, brighter lives and better world, which work on these 5 pillars. One is climate action, circular economy, food availability, safety and security, and health and well-being. So the next AV will give you a short glimpse of what we do around these 5 pillars. Can you please play that? So coming to today's topic about smart workspaces, if you see the offices of the past, it was basically working in silos, rigid workspace flow, physical barriers, and there was a clear demarcation of the hierarchy between the boss and the subordinates. But the offices of today are very fluidic. You have more of collaborative working, free flow workspace, multiple agile zones, diversity and inclusion. The modern workplaces have more focus on activity rather than individuality. If you see, we have noticed in the modern workspaces, we have 3 zones. One is basically focus, second is coming together, and third is mobility. When I mean to say focus, it's basically where the employee focuses on his work. So we have open offices, private offices, work lounge, where the employee can dedicatedly focus on his work. Coming together is basically collaboration, where you have breakout spaces, large meeting rooms, small meeting rooms, boardrooms, standpoints, small offices, and mobility, which is, again, you have your reception areas, cafeteria, breakout areas, libraries, phone booths, and all these kinds of spaces. So these are some glimpses of the modern offices, what we have today, where you can see the interiors as well as the lighting go with the flow. I mean, there's nothing specific. Everything is fluid. You can see clear demarcation based on the interiors as well as the lighting. So how lighting impacts the workspace? Offices of the past had flat lighting because mainly you had ceilings which were 2 by 2. So you would have a 2 by 2 grade, a 2 by 2 luminaire, which would be throughout the entire open plan office or cabins, or 2 by 2 or 3 by 3 grid spacing or a 3 by 4 grid spacing, nothing special. And the focus more was on task lighting, which we also call functional lighting. But offices of today, you can see there's a lot of layering of light, variety of luminaire within the zones, and decorative yet functional light. So what we call in our parlance deco-functional light, which looks decorative but actually is used for function. Variety and layering is what we see in the modern offices now, where we have the ceiling or no ceiling, or you have acoustic fabrics, ambient light, accent light, as well as decorative lights. So we Philips or Signify bring you the most talked about thing today, because we have a lot of employees not willing to come back to work. So we need to make a vibrant office space to entice them to come back to work. We'll touch upon these points. When I say become more sustainable, reduce lighting when it's not in use by using occupancy sensors or daylight harvesting. Get in-depth understanding of how lighting energy is being consumed over across your office spaces, could be meeting rooms. Use comparatively data to benchmark. Nothing goes on assumption. Everything is tabulated. There is a data which is there to benchmark, and you can reduce CO2 emission reductions and have cost savings. Use occupancy data and space usage. Could be for a particular office, or office has multiple sites. You can have the data of occupancy and space usage and have your energy optimization, either by closing down the space or reducing the lighting or by moderating your HVAC, thereby having energy savings as well as cost savings. Optimizing real estate. Here you can capture and analyze building occupancy data to learn how the space is utilized. Could be your meeting room occupied full-time, or maybe occupied to half occupancy, and during what time. Data to reallocate space where and when needed. Drive strategic decisions, example, space allocation for projects based on data rather than assumptions. The workspaces now being fluid and agile, you can never have any space dedicated to any team. So by using this data, you can come to strategic decisions as to how you can utilize this space for future needs, or if you want to have it or not. You can let go of the space. Understand meeting room occupancy and usage trends, and optimize data-driven
27 over of 20.
Hot or cold. 66% fall in employee performance when there is a distracting noise, and 46% more sleeps if they have sufficient daylight or artificial light exposed to artificial light close to daylight. So we have some a solution for simulating the outdoor environment into the indoors. This is called based on the circadian rhythm lighting, or we call biophilic lighting, where you have, if you see the blue thing, that is typically looks like the sky, and it's got an astronomical sensor. So as and when the sun moves, it senses that and it creates shadows, which mimics the daylight into your room. And the sides what we have, they are for the functional lighting, which also can be tunable. So this brings in more of outdoor into your indoors. The other concept is light up your ceiling. Either the ceiling becomes a light or light becomes the ceiling. So this is a very interesting luminaire where it is a rock solid luminaire from all four sides. So you don't have dust or insect entry. And also the fabric is such that in case if you find dust, you can just remove it, put it in the washing machine, wash it and put it back. It's that easy. And this is a stretch ceiling to create different concepts with different prints for various areas like collabs. And these are some of the concepts what we have. And the last one is the luminous textile fabric, which can be used to create a different ambience in the reception areas or any area where you want to have this. It is RGB and also can be simulated with low resolution content as well as integrated with your audio. So beyond that, what we can do is the facades, the breakout areas. These are some actual installations what we have done. And if you see the last one, this is actually for a PVR cinema. Doesn't come under office, but we can use it for auditoriums. So it's a theater setting. So we have used the luminous textile fabric. And this is basically a solar light and post-op, which can be used for campuses. And the last one is dusk to dawn sense street lighting solution. So here, basically, you don't need any human intervention. So you just fit it and forget it. It switches on when it gets dark using an astronomical sensor, or also it can be scheduled for dimming steps as and how required, and then automatically it will switch off in the morning. So this is also very useful for campuses. So why Signify? Because we provide professional services, life cycle services, and managed services. And we are a one-stop shop for everything, for lighting, lighting controls, and also system and services, where we can provide you AMCs, SITC, and your job will be much easier. Thank you for your patience and have a pleasant evening.
Very much, Deepa, for this quick peek into what Signify is all about. The next session of a day today is the keynote speaker's address, and you have no idea, it's with so much pride and honor it takes me to introduce him on this platform today. We have with us today Mr. Roshan Gowda, who is the regional head at SAP at APJ and the Greater China for Global Real Estate and Facilities. He is an individual I've come to know for quite some years now, and I've keenly followed his work and his contributions, his innovative approach has exceedingly and constantly just kept like just making benchmarks in this industry. He has a career spanning over 20 years now, and his ability to scrutinize everything, especially in operations and in his facilities to the detail, is it's such a pleasure and an honor to actually have known him and understand his work. We have him here on with us today on this platform, and I don't really even have to introduce him to this, what do you say, forum, because most of you all know him so well. At SAP, he oversees the strategic planning, the operations and management of real estate assets and facilities across diverse and dynamic region. And he's known for his ability to drive efficiency and innovation in facilities operations, while fostering environment that supports employee well-being and productivity. And it is, like I mentioned, an honor for me to invite him over here and hear from him his experience, his insights, and his journey through this industry of working with the companies that he has. With this, Roshan, I would love to call you on stage, and a huge round of applause, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes, it was pretty impressive introduction actually. It's quite a feat to live up to it. I think it was Oscar Wilde who had once said that I think you truly uh, learn to appreciate your job if you imagine yourselves without it. I oftentimes apply that analogy to our workplace, right? Especially the post-COVID era has given us a lot of opportunities to imagine our worlds without physical offices and workplaces. You know, frankly, some of us have loved it. Others haven't really liked it so much. And I think a lot of us have had mixed feelings about it. Good evening, folks. My name is Roshan Gowda, as she just kind of introduced me in glowing terms. I love to stay fit. I love travel. I'm a certified scuba diver. And when I get a time from all of that, I also lead global real estate facilities for the region for SAP. So let's get on with this. I think what we're going to try and do over the next 5-6 minutes, not too much, is I'm going to try and unravel aspects of the changing nature of a workplace that you haven't heard before in the million other conferences that you have attended. I'm sure of that. So no pressure. Wish me luck. I oftentimes feel that hybrid work is, and let me know if I'm coming in the way of the screen, but hybrid work is making us tax our minds and brains a lot more than we were otherwise used to, right? I mean, I just want to do a simple meeting, you know, suddenly I'm thinking of, is it okay to take a video call out in the open? Or am I supposed to book a room? If I book a room, how large a room should it be? Because I have no clue of how many people are going to attend virtually, how many people are going to actually come into the room as well. As if that wasn't enough, you're then thinking about whether the AV system is going to be working fine, especially if you're trying to kind of, you know, get some business outcomes, some decisions in your meetings, you know, is the AV system going to work? Now, suddenly, you know, your office life becomes so complicated. And this is just from an employee perspective. Imagine what it does to designers and corporate real estate professionals. I mean, they're thinking about assigned desking versus non-assigned desking. Sounds familiar, right? I mean, they're talking about what's the average utilization that we should be planning for. They're also thinking about come August, September, October, the Indian festival season starts. So obviously, koi nahi aane wala, right? I mean, just wait till the festivals get through, and before you know it, you're on to December. December though is, I think it's written in hard coded. It's a federal law somewhere that nobody can come to office in December, right? So you're out. You're down for the count anyway. And before you realize, you know, a couple of months pass and you're on to March and April, which is summer vacations. Obviously, everybody's going to their hometowns. I mean, it's a bit of a vicious cycle, you know. So I genuinely feel that we are at that stage where hybrid work seems to be, apart from everything else, you know, I'm not going to talk about the usual jargon about flex and all of that, but it's just unnecessarily complex, I feel. Now, obviously, the main question that organizations are going to ask themselves is that how do you keep a hyper energetic and a hyper productive employee base productive wherever they're working from, whether they're working from home, whether they're working from offices as well. So how do you actually keep your employees engaged and connected? It's not easy, it's not straightforward, because I get asked that question all the time, especially now, because you have the gig economy, you have our digital natives, the kids who have started joining the workforce now as well, as if things weren't complex enough for us. And now you're talking about AI. I personally believe it has a lot of promise, it has a lot of potential, but yes, it does add an overlay of complexity into our lives, wherein I don't believe it's replacing people or jobs, but it does replace tasks. I think the promise of AI is that it gives you this immense potential to replace tasks that you would otherwise not be very keen on doing, tactical, repetitive tasks. But that's a different discussion for a different time. So how do you actually do that? I mean, how do you, in all of this complexity, how do you keep your employees engaged and hyper competitive in this obviously complex world? So is it then time to redefine our relationship with our work? I was in my extremely skeletal preparation for this keynote, I went through some research which actually told us that almost 30% of all employees, and I suspect they meant knowledge workers, don't actually have a very healthy relationship with their work. And in the same breath, that research also spoke about the fact that more than 80% of these same employees don't mind getting a pay cut if they were offered more empathetic conditions, more understanding leaders, perhaps, so suddenly what do you have? I mean, suddenly we are now questioning the kind of relationship we need to have with our work, right? It's not just about getting the job done. It's also about the next layer of complexity. Then what that led me to believe and think, did we approach it all wrong? I mean, we've obviously been knee deep, neck deep in this whole flex environment, but did we miss a trick somewhere by not pausing and perhaps taking some time off to actually develop a future of work strategy? Now, it's especially pertinent now because, as I said, you're doing all the things, right? You're ticking all the boxes, but are you actually, are you now 2.5, 3 years since the world opened up post-COVID, perhaps you're doing everything, but now you're suddenly looking back and saying that, are we in the right direction itself, or should we have paused and actually developed a bit of a strategy for ourselves as to how do we actually approach it? Now, when you talk about that, you also realize that people usually have pretty unique needs. I mean, needs that contribute to their overall wellness and their productivity as well. And especially now, because the one thing that keeps coming out, whether you acknowledge it in those many words or not, the one thing that keeps coming out is that people are increasingly acknowledging and responding to a connected sense of purpose, a sense of purpose to their work, a sense of purpose to their organizations, and also perhaps to each other. It's not enough anymore that they get the job done, but they want a little extra. Now, in that overall context, if we have to talk about this sense of purpose, if we have to talk about this so-called relationship that we are hoping to kind of define with our work, with our organizations, is there a magic trick? Is there a mantra? Are there any key facet that we need to talk about? Potentially there are, and this is actually a research from Forbes that I hit across. There are three things that they spoke about, and I think it makes sense. It's very straightforward, it's basically about the mindset, it's about a tool set, and it's also about a skill set, right? What mindset actually talks about very simply is both from an employer as well as an employee perspective, but mindset talks about is more foundational, it's more inherent, it is more about our abilities to actually do work the right way, more softer skills. Leadership and people centricity have actually evolved as two of probably the most important aspects. Now, this doesn't undermine the fact that, you still need to be relevant. You still need to have the most relevant technical and technological skills. But the softer skills that leaders are being forced to possess today are not something that we used to demand of our managers earlier, right? And that's a given. I mean, at a very tactical, at a very base level, you're talking about ability to actually lead teams across time zones, across virtual environments. You know, nobody teaches us that. Nobody has ever taught us that. Some people have a natural talent, some people don't. But increasingly, what we're seeing is softer skills like empathy, softer skills like an ability to keep your flock together and get work done whilst also kind of, you know, keeping morale high is suddenly in the forefront. And we never actually pause to think. So that's what leadership talks about. People centricity is very simply how do you actually keep people at the core of everything you do. People, I often say this in various conversations that I have with a lot of people is that a lot of people in this room are corporate real estate professionals, you call yourselves workplace, at times you call yourselves facilities and services, whatnot. But essentially, we are in the business of people. Make no mistake. I mean, because if you actually had to summarize in one line what most people in this room do, you actually create physical environments which can enable people to give their best every single day. So how is it not about people? That's where actually the people centricity piece comes in. This is about mindset. If you then speak about the second one that I spoke about, which is tool set, which is very simply, this is the easy one, technology and workspaces, right? Let me talk about workplaces very quickly, and which is why we frankly gathered over here as it is the physicality of the workplace and the physical infrastructure that a lot of people create has never been more important than today. We call ourselves corporate functions, right? But it's not coincidental that a lot of these conversations about how the workplace and act as a cultural glue and how the workplace is increasingly becoming connected with purpose and what people call culture, what have you. It's not coincidentally that there's so much talk about today. I mean, I am at SAP, and it's not funny how often we have conversations with our customers, no less, where they want to talk to us about how we use our workplace as a hook to attract and retain our best talent. And trust me, it is not lip service. These are genuine conversations. These are board level conversations. These are conversations that we're having where people are very keenly trying to understand what is the most optimum way. There's no secret sauce, but then the only point I'm making here is that the physical nature of the workplace is more important than ever before. Technology and tools is an obvious one. The jury is out on how well technology has done. It seems to be working fine today, at least. But a lot of people have said as we came out of the whole pandemic, as we struggled with the usual circumstances wherein it was okay to do a face-to-face conversation. It was equally okay to do a virtual conversation. But what happens when it's a mix, right? I mean, that's where the rubber starts hitting the road. So technology is getting there as well. But a lot of people have told me that that's one area of improvement as well. But the point being that when you talk about tool sets which enable people to give their best every single day to actually innovate and think out of the box, the tools that you provide your employees are going to be extremely important. And lastly, skill set, I touched upon that broadly as very briefly as well. We call them power skills. These are essentially the softer skills that I spoke about. Nobody's taught us those. Smarter people were essentially the most high-performing people at one point of time. That's no longer the case. You need to be smart, absolutely. You need to be delivering extremely high quality of work, but then you also need to be able to have those softer skills. Because essentially what happens is a work environment which can create transparency, which can create trust, which can create credibility. You'll be surprised at how these intangibles are becoming important. You know, people are willing also because, I mean, make no mistake, there's also a lot of competition around, right? Because there are jobs on offer as well. But the fact remains that you can't anymore just depend on technological skills. You need to actually create that environment, which is where the softer skills come into play. And the other thing is, oops. I spoke about technology, spoke too soon, I think. Yes. No. Give me a minute, folks. Sorry. Should I, like we always do, should I restart something? It usually works. On what? मुझे लगा था कि टेक्नोलॉजी की बात मत करो. Can anyone help? Sorry. Or you can do it. Can you go on to the next one, please? If that's possible, I can lay off. Are you doing it? Okay. Can I tell you guys a joke till then? Next. Yes. You're getting somewhere. I'll keep talking till then. Hopefully, if you can get to the. No. I think I should stop doing it. Are you doing it? Then I should stop doing it. Yeah. Because I think both of us. Just go back. Just one click back. I think I was doing well, no? Till that happened. Yes. No. Next. Yes. Go on. Yeah. So just one click and just stop on this slide. Yeah. So while you do that, so the next one, which you can't see, was going to be about the AI piece, right? Because we are talking about softer skills, and we are also talking about our ability to actually seamlessly integrate to everything. AI is just an example. I mean, how do you actually do that? I just mentioned 2 minutes back that there's a lot of promise, there's a lot of potential. I genuinely believe that we should be able to harness a lot of innovation, especially like ML and AI, to be able to actually focus more on more cognitive tasks and let the more repetitive tasks kind of stay with technology. So those are essentially the three pieces that I wanted to speak about. I wanted to speak about the mindset, speak about the tool set and the skill set. So what does that actually tell us? That actually brings us to how do we actually get ready for the future of work, which is the next slide. You can actually get to the next slide. Yeah, the next. Essentially, yeah, one more click. So what we're talking about is, in summary, if you actually had to prep yourselves, apart from everything else, organizations that have shown the ability to create an environment which can foster this equitable kind of trust and a camaraderie oftentimes score better in the whole future of work piece. And if you actually, there are many facets to this, there's just not one or two things, but if you actually had to distill 2 or 3 things, and I've tried to distill 3 of them, and you can actually go to the next one, 3 tenets of what the future of work looks like. I think there is, if I can just kind of recount them, there's the culture connect, there's happiness at work, and then there's a third one, which I don't remember. Hopefully it'll come back by then. Yeah, the next one. Let's talk about the culture connect. The piece that we have started realizing is, yeah, let's talk about this. The culture will come next. So the wellness as a priority is increasingly bringing and curating a more equitable, more inclusive kind of an environment, which actually gives a great opportunity to employees to come in and give their best every day, is actually more of a premium than what you would think. And we oftentimes talk about whole life design. It's easier said than done. What it actually means is, how do we not force our folks to kind of make choices when they come to office? Do I need to kind of, okay, I'm coming to office, whether it's 3 days a week, I keep everything else, I keep my personal life at hold when I come into office. How do you not get them to do that? I mean, is there a way that they can actually do everything? So that's what we mean by whole life design. So this is interestingly becoming a big facet of what I believe the future of our work is going to. If you can just go to the next one, please, Rashmi. The next one is what I spoke to you about, is the culture connect. The physical nature of our workplaces is increasingly acting as a cultural glue that brings people together. And in this semi-virtual environment, it's not very easy for people to actually understand what they're working for, because it's an unknown. At the end of the month, you get a paycheck. At the end of I mean, there is a voice, there is a manager who you meet probably once a week, twice a week, who gives you a deliverable. But how do you stay? I mean, how do you get connected, right? Because if you think that, as long as I'm paying him or her well, they will stay. No, it doesn't work that way. And research proves that people are willing to take a bit of a minor haircut to actually go in for better environments. And what I mean as the great leveler, and I genuinely believe this is a more physical, more logistical way, especially in a country like India, where people come in from various environments, various uh, uh, sizes of houses as well. You have multi-generational families as well. The workplace, I believe, is a place which gives them a great opportunity to actually display their wares, so as to say, because everybody, irrespective of whether somebody is staying at a high-end villa on the outskirts of Bangalore or somebody is staying in the old city in a small house that their parents owned, when they come to the workplace, they actually are at par. So that I think is the next one. And the third one, if you can go to, which is the third tenet, which I believe is about the happiness at work. Now, you will be surprised at how touchy-feely this thing is. It's an intangible, of course, but it is increasingly clear that that happier employees are better at decision making. I think happier employees are better at collaborating, and they just get stuff done more. So how can you not? I mean, how can you ignore that whole joy or happiness at work piece, right? Which basically then leads to that point is that if there are ways and means, then you can actually create environments which can trigger events, opportunities where more and more joy and happiness at work can actually be created. There's actually great merit in doing that. If you can just go to the last one. So this was my distill. So I think to all of us, I think welcome to the future of work. Thank you so much. I'm good.
Thank you so much, Roshan. If you don't mind, can we take at least one or two questions from
Oh,
the
of
audience?
course.
Just
Yeah,
in
I was
case?
just getting warmed up.
Anyone have any questions for Roshan here? Anything with regards to the presentation that he made and anything out of context?
There's one there.
There's all right. If anyone can give him.
That's a planted question before you can ask it.
Roshan, I'm not, listen, Roshan, I personally enamored what you said, and it's very insightful. But looking at the global scenario, where you see India at this stage at workplace, what are some of the things that we don't have even today? Or do you think we are at par?
You're saying that where are we? Where is India in terms of physical workplace?
Yeah.
No, I think we are at, I think there are different facets of it. I think in terms of sustainability is obviously a bit of a cliche, but it's a very important piece. But the way I read sustainability, for example, is frugality. I think we as a country, we as a culture are a lot more frugal than a lot of our Western counterparts are. So to that extent, I think we are doing quite well. I think where we are lagging is perhaps the interface between technology and the physical workplace. But there's a lot happening right now. We ourselves have been piloting a few things. But in terms of the more the physical aspect in terms of how do you actually create workplaces, I think what we do well is that our designs, I think, are a lot more relevant to what the needs of. I'll give you an example. For example, we did something, and now we are kind of, a lot of people, that we are also building a second campus of our own. We've actually had the ability to understand different personas that exist. I mean, it was something that we've seen in theory, right? This kind of a persona needs this kind of a working environment, and a different kind needs a different kind of working environment. We've actually learned that by making a lot of mistakes. So I think we are probably a little better in terms of applying something, learning what went wrong, and then reapplying that. So that's where we are. But yeah, I think it'll take. I think we are about there.
So two things: sustainability in terms of technology and adaptability. And
technology, I think we
are still
probably
lagging.
can do better.
And just to labor one more minute, where do you see the mindset of the people?
Our employees?
Yeah.
We are far better, much better. Now, if you're talking about, see, I mean, it's a long story. Like, for example, I mean, I'm a bit of a usual suspect in a lot of these events, right? So I've been doing a lot of these. But what I've seen is when I was asked this question at the onset of COVID about uh, work from home and all of that, I was very certain that it won't happen, apart from obviously the medical reasons. But it happened. People refused to come back, right? And I had to eat my words because I genuinely believed that there is this whole cultural aspirational thing in India, in small town India especially. I'm a product of that as well. You get educated, you live your life in a smaller town or wherever, and at some point of time, you want to break free, break the shackles, and go somewhere. You go into the big city. So that, as a mindset, is a very India mindset, or countries like India. So to that extent, and I think we are seeing that now as well, to that extent, we were always a lot more amenable from a workplace uh, footfall concept. And which now, after 2.5 years, it's kind of playing out because when I speak to my counterparts, because I lead the region and there are 4 regions in my organization, there's APJ, there's EMEA, there's Americas, and Germany for us is a region as well. We are nowhere close to the kind of numbers that we have in India and China. And thankfully, both of them are my region. So there's nobody turning up in North America. Thank you.
All right. So do you want to take the last one? We'll keep it really short and quick, though.
Everybody was quiet. I thought I might as well ask a question on Culture Connect. There has been a lot of talk around globally on this topic, and post-pandemic, they call it culture reset. Just
Yeah.
wanted to know more on what you think are making a significant difference in that part there, and is it connecting to that happiness at work that you talked about? Just a little bit more, if you can, throw light.
I mean, one is obviously there are enablers to culture, like the physical workplace that we spoke about. But I think people are initially what was happening was there was a stated process, right? People used to kind of get an offer letter. Or rather, people used to get interviewed, onboarding, offer letter, then they're working. So that whether you realize what it was, whether you could put a finger to it or not, that was your culture. Um, it's not so straightforward now. So I think the only thing that I can talk about, and I'm not an expert at that topic, but the only thing that I can say is that the organizations and quite often the decision makers, some of that has to come top down, has to consciously talk about and build a culture. You need to kind of talk about what we stand for. It is not unstated. It can't be unstated. You need to kind of talk about it, and then senior leaders need to walk the talk. Because if you do that often enough, that actually becomes a bit of a North Star for people to actually at least emulate, or even at least understand whether you align to it or not. So in a nutshell, I mean, I didn't want to be too fuzzy about this. I think culture earlier was a lot more fuzzy and it used to kind of, happen along the way while people were working at it. Now, I think there needs to be a little more effort. It needs a little more hard work. Yeah. Thank you. You done?
Thank you. Yes.
Thank you.
Just
Thanks.
one small, I would love to call on stage Deepa Lobo from Signify to hand over a small token of appreciation from our end. Deepa, please come on stage. A huge round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, for such a brilliant keynote address. He is one of the individuals who's the most sought after when it comes to discussions on the future of work. And like I mentioned, it's just fabulous to have had him today on this stage. I would really hope you're there later on to go forward and have further discussions with him later today evening. Thank you so much, Roshan, for gracing us this evening today. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I didn't know it was going to come on this. I could have given you a better picture.
Oh, good Lord.
Thank you so much. Oops, Deepa. Thank you so much. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Roshan,
Thank
for
you.
this. And I'm hoping you would be staying back today. You usually run away. So I'm hoping you're there around for us to knit
Yeah,
in.
I will.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. So now quickly just moving on to the next sessions of the day. We have an industry address by one of our partners, Dorma Kaba India, and presenting on their behalf is Nandini CG, who is the Senior Manager of Sales at Dorma Kaba India. And I'm going to quickly call her on stage and let her explain what Dorma Kaba is all about. And Nandini, the stage is all yours. Please come. A huge round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, for Nandini. Thank you.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Nandini. I represent Doma Kaba from the sales fraternity. It's not very often that we see so many decision makers and influencers all under one roof. So I'm tempted to pack in a lot of stuff into my presentation. And give me a few minutes to share Doma Kaba's commitment and passion towards the construction industry. Doma and Kaba, both with more than 100 years of experience into the building industry, came together in the year 2015. This merger brought in a lot of synergies, like 160 years of collective experience and presence in more than 130 countries. And right now we hold more than 1,800 patents. We spend significantly in research and development that helps us to bring innovative products year on year. We bring in expertise to a lot of product segments that are broadly classified here. We have door hardware, interior glass systems, entrance systems. Part of entrance systems includes automated swing doors, sliding doors, revolving doors, breakout doors, and many more. We have a comprehensive electronic access and data systems. As part of lodging solutions, we have hotel locks with RFID and mobile access solutions. We have mechanical keying systems that makes handling of keys in any project very easy. Safe locks is a very interesting product. Here we provide high security locks primarily to banking and government segments. We have in-house service capabilities to handle after-sales service. And we have a very elaborate product solution for acoustic movable walls, both in glass and solid systems. All our products are tested for durability and quality. And in fact, we have the country's first NABL accredited laboratory in our regional logistics center in Chennai. In fact, this center is also a green building. We also hold quality and other quality and environment management certifications. Different projects demand different conformities and standards, like European norms, UL listing, CE certifications. So we have different products that comply with all these requirements of different standards. Our products also come with environment product declaration. The access industry is changing, ever changing. We saw that during COVID when we moved into a lot of touchless solutions. And there is a shift from purely mechanical to electromechanical. There is a lot of integrations that are required in projects now, like fire integrations and BMS integrations, and many more things that are changing. So we are aligning ourselves to all these changes. And basically, in essence, we are looking at bringing a holistic approach when we work out solutions for our clients, be it balancing form and function or integrating access, making the flow of people into buildings effortless, and answering your needs for sustainable built environment. We are also aligning with United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. We offer in-depth knowledge into lot of market segments like hospitality, airports, healthcare, offices, hospitality. You name any sector and we are present there. We are also associated with a lot of iconic projects worldwide. The One World Trade Center in New York and Marina Bay Sands Hotel in Singapore, to name a few. In India, also, we are associated with a lot of IT and corporate clients like Amazon, TCS, Google, Carelon, and many more. And we are proud to say that all these customers are repeat customers for us. We are also associated with airports with our passenger boarding gates. We are present in most of the metros in the airports with these boarding gates. Tier 2 cities are also not behind, and we are present in Tier 2 cities too. When it comes to hospitality sector, we are present with our lodging solutions in more than 165,000 hotels. You name the hotel operator and we are present with them. Barrier-free is a very interesting topic of the day. It speaks about equality in public spaces. It talks about how we can make buildings more accessible to persons with disabilities. So there are codes that are defining the requirements for barrier-free. So if you look at the Indian context, we have the Right of Persons with Disability Act of 2016. So most of the Indian projects, refer to this act. There is BS 8300 British standards, and UK also came up with document M for access for barrier-free. So barrier-free standards are, provided for different areas of a building like gates, pathways, parking, drop-offs, and many more. And we at Domakaba are focusing on the standards which come under doors and glazing. So in barrier-free, there are a lot of requirements that are being spelled out. For example, the opening force of a door should not be more than 20 Newton to enable a disabled person or an elderly or a child to open the door. So we have products that can cater to such requirements of barrier-free. I would like to present a video of barrier-free restroom solution. So here it goes. So what we showed here is an Australian, restroom kit. The technology is the same. The access panel for the Indian market is slightly different. So we have it in our stall, so you can come over and have a look at it. Recently, we launched a product in the acoustic operable wall segment. This is called Trifold Prisma. It's a glass vertical fold partition with a sound insulation of 52 dB. I'll just play a video on this. So we are promoting this product in India for the first time. So if the first order comes from this audience, nothing forward. So I would also like to talk quickly about our access control solution. So this is a very simple solution where a mechanical door can be converted into an access control door by simply removing the Europrofile cylinder and introducing a digital cylinder. So we have a whole range of electrified door hardware, and we cater to both European and American standards. So here I can show you the complete range like electromagnetic locks, electrified mortise locks, electrified panic bars, and electric strike. So we also have a complete range of access control solution, which includes both hardware and software readers, and also the software updates. We are global leaders when it comes to physical access solutions like flap barriers, tripods, turnstiles. We also have this for peripheral access like full height turnstiles. We have some very sophisticated systems for high security like the personal interlock. In mechanical keying systems, we can provide very sophisticated patented technology which cannot be replicated anywhere. And we also have the service capabilities to take care of after-sales service for all our products. Thank you so much for your attention.
Thank you so much, Surbhi. Okay, I'm gonna first apologize. I know we are running extremely late. Really sorry to my speakers also. I've actually requested my next speaker to keep it really short and crisp. So with this, I'm gonna quickly call on stage from MRF Corp Limited, Mr. Ravi Krishnan, who is the regional sales manager for Karnataka and Goa, to come on stage and quickly just run us through what he has to share with us here today.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Ravi Krishnan, Regional Sales Manager for MRF Paints. I, along with my team, are extremely delighted to be here, and MRF Paints is privileged to be here in this great evening. So thank you for all. Some of you might be knowing, would be knowing about the brand MRF. Definitely, MRF Paints is what we are talking about. So MRF Paints is one of the verticals of the group MRF. MRF is also into tires. So definitely when we talk about MRF, we all call MRF as a brand in terms of tires, which is the #1 tire manufacturer in India and also one of the top 10 global companies. So I'm going to talk more in terms of paints today. So, and some of you might be knowing, some of you may not be. So we just try to run through as quickly as possible. MRF Paints is a company started in the year 1989. Is it going back or what? Yeah. I will be operating or somebody is operating. So MRF Corp Limited is what I'm talking about. It's basically a vertical of paints. It's fully owned subsidiary of MRF Limited. We are in the business for more than 30 years, adding aesthetics and harmony to the homes. We are into complete range of decorative paints, ISO certified company. Recently, we got a Green Post certificate, IGBC certified. Also, we have 3 facilities, manufacturing facilities around Chennai. We have an R&D center in Chennai. Pan-India operation is there, so length and breadth of India we cover. We also have a dedicated business development team catering into architects, interior designers, and as well as engineers. Next.
Please, operator. Good living starts with good looking spaces. Yeah. Next. So basically, MRF paints, into 4 different segments: wall finishes, wood finishes, metal, and performance products. Wall finishes is typically the decorative paints we talk about. Just to give a perspective of paint industry, it is Indian paint industry is about 70,000 crore market, and MRF is one of the players. And wall finishes alone is catering to more than 70% of the paint industry. So MRF is very popular for its wood finishes. We are also getting into wall finishes, and we are going there. Metal and performance products are also there. So next, please. Coming to wall finishes. Next. So this is a very critical certificate which we got recently. So all products manufactured from MRF is all green certified, green, so eco-friendly products. So that's a recent development which we had. So I'll just quickly run through some of the products. Coming to super premium water-based exterior, Aquafresh exterior is a brand name which we call. It is UV resistant, all the properties, stain resistance, washability, etc., etc. Comes with a 7-year warranty. It comes with more than 1,000 shades. Aquafresh interior is again a super premium interior emulsion. All the properties remain the same. It is meant for interior surface. Next, we have a product called Altura. Altura is a 2-in-1 emulsion which can be applied for both interiors as well as exterior. It is a premium acrylic emulsion. Again, it has all the properties which comes with a 5-year warranty. We also have economy products, basically Visa and Campus. Visa is a product meant for interiors, which comes with a 3-year warranty, and Campus is an exterior emulsion, which comes with a 3-year warranty again, basically to cater into economy segments as well. Aquafresh Dam Guard is a product which is a waterproofing product, basically to arrest the seepages as dampness. Also, it reduces temperature up to 10 degrees. When you apply, it can be applied on both horizontally and vertically. So it is having all the properties of a waterproofing compound. So this is a base coat. After this, we have to apply top coat. We also have different primers, premium economy primers. Aquafresh is a premium luxury primer, and then Altura, and then Cello primer to cater to all different segment of customers. Coming to wood finishes, this is our MRF is typically known for wood finishes. So Aquacoat is a PU, polyurethane, which is a water-based PU, which can be applied for both interior and exterior. So it comes in different glossy, matte, and as well as anti-skid finishes. This is our flagship product, Woodcoat exterior PU-based woodcoat finish. So this is our fast-selling product per se, which has excellent UV protection, scratch resistance, stain resistance, etc., etc. And this is one of the products which we vouch for, which excellent technology, and which also gives a long life, which comes in silky matte, glossy, as well as sealer, 3 different products. We have recently launched a product called Woodcoat Italia, which is meant for interior surface. Again, having all the properties which is meant to be for interior per se. So we also have different other wood finishes like fresh wood, tit wood, and easy wood, melamine. Basically, these are economy products. Coming to metal finishes, Metal Coat is our premium, again, is a flagship product of MRF, which is a 2K PU-based clear and pigmented finish. Excellent UV resistance, the superior finish, moisture lock, so a lot of properties they've got. It is a great product we recommend this product predominantly for the front gate of individual houses and bungalows. Yeah. So this is again a MC plus is a pigmented finishes of the same group, metal coat group, which comes in more than 2,900 shades. All the shades can be tinted. And then this is predominantly this metal coat and metal coat finishes. Just one minute. So this basically for all the kitchen cabinets, we recommend this product. Durothin is a economy PU. Next. Yeah, other products of metal finishes. Spectra is a PU enamel, which we have recently launched. These are all the protective paints, which is a different. Zameen is a product which I've recently launched for, basically for floor coating, pavements, blocks, etc., etc. So some of the projects I will just quickly. So these are some of the projects supplied from MRF. Then quickly run through. Yeah. So one second. Just quickly. This is the last slide. So how we support is basically with our business development team. We are there for free sampling. So if anyone is willing, kindly contact us. We can provide free sampling. We can give you project previews. So we have a good network. So whatever products are required, we will be able to get it in the city, Bangalore city, as well as in the entire Karnataka. So try new and thank you very much.
I would request to have the chairs on stage. We would move on to the first panel discussion of the day, which is addressing the key needs and the dynamics of creating next-gen workspaces. Now, moderating this panel and on these panels are some phenomenal speakers we have with us here today. We have on this panel Nazira Razak, who is the managing director and the principal at Gensler. Joining her are Sumit Sharma, who is the CSO for India, head GSC Group Security at Capgemini India. Along with them is Sumit Arora, who is the head national operations at workplace strategy at CBRE Consulting. Joining also them is Vardhaman Jain, who is the professional sales head for office segment at Signify. We also have one of the most prominent co-working space players here. Representing them is Vibha Shetty, who is the Director for Business Development and Broker Partnerships at WeWork India. And joining them is Vikas Chawla, who is the Director and for employee and workplace solutions at Adobe. And managing and directing this entire phenomenal panel is Surbhi Kunj, who is the head for design solutions at JLL West Asia. With this, I'm going to quickly invite Surbhi on stage to quickly introduce the session flow and the panel speakers also on stage, please.
On me is I relocated, I carry 22 years of work experience across the globe. It's a delight having being here in this moment of time where workplace has never been so exciting. And the topic is fascinating in terms of where where the needs and the dynamics of the next gen workplace are. I would actually like to say it's not just next gen, it's a multi-generational workplace that we are talking about. And I was really fascinated to hear Roshan's keynote. I think it was just where all of the topics start to amalgamate around. Today, we are going to focus around a lot around the detail. They say that, devil is in the detail. And so we will focus around what are those, contexts that make the next gen workplace meaningful. And some of the key things there revolve around diversity, equity, and inclusion, and there's a lot being talked about inclusive workplace. So we would throw some light on what these really mean in the workplace for the next generation. Sustainability, I think it's been talked about a lot. So we will be talking about some of the sustainable aspects, how our panelists think about these topics, along with the hybrid. I think it's an overused word, but we would try to tease out how these are really, complex and what are the things that are making a fundamental difference around the globe and for India in terms of bringing hybrid workplace to your organizations. Because so just giving a little more context to my background as well, I have worked around a lot of design thinking as well as projects last 10, 12 years on workplace strategy across the globe with service providers, and had a opportunity to work with several Fortune 500 companies in terms of where they are headed across and how these boundaries across the globe are, really making a difference in terms of viewing the workplace, whether it is in a context of culture, cultural nuances that we call by region. And so I'm really delighted to be here more than anyone. Relocated last year from the US, and we have set up a practice for design solutions for JLL that I head here with studios in Bangalore and Hyderabad at this point. And we're really excited to bring the forward-thinking approaches that we are going to talk about today on the design front and how they really make a difference in terms of looking at it a little bit more thoughtfulness, I would say, in how you bring the recipe together. A lot to do with the end results of how you make your workplaces more engaging. So I'll just, with further no ado.
I'll just introduce Rahil also here.
Absolutely, yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, we also have Rahil Gibran, who is the National Director for Occupier Strategy and Solutions
Welcome,
from
Rahil. Sorry
Knight
we forgot you.
Frank. I had missed him here since I thought he wasn't here.
I was
But
clearly
thank
the
you so
wild card
much.
entry,
No. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for coming. And it's really great to have all our panelists. I'll just kind of go around if you want to make quick introductions, and then we can start to get to the questions that we have for you this evening. So over to maybe Vikas, if you want to quickly introduce and
Hi, I'm Vikas Chawla, Director Operations at Adobe, based out of the Bangalore campus.
Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Nasira Razak. I am the Managing Director for Gensler, and it's wonderful to be here with all of you.
Yeah, hi, I am Vardhaman Jain. I take care of the office segment business for Signify, which was formerly known as Philips India. And really excited and look forward to this conversation because all the topics that Surbhi talked about, I mean, whether it be sustainability or DEI, that is at the core of everything that we do. So yeah, look forward to this discussion.
Hi, I'm Vibha. I manage business development at WeWork India, and I'm looking forward to our conversation.
Hi, good evening. My name is Sumit. I look after national operations for consulting at CBRE and also take care of their workplace strategy and change management business in India. Looking forward to the discussion.
Good evening, all. I'm Rahil. I handle the Bangalore office leasing business for Knight Frank. I'm a national director and been with the firm for about 6 years now. Thank you.
Thank you. So yeah, so we will get started with the very exciting topic that personally fascinates me as a woman in workplace, and that is diversity, equity, and inclusion. And I think it goes more on a gender neutral biases across, and I will pose my question pointedly around the designers here in room today on what exactly is happening in terms of, we're talking about diversity, equity, and inclusion, and we're talking about inclusive workplaces, specifically around, what is that details that you're seeing as a designer, which makes a difference in terms of inclusive workplace design? And maybe, Nasira, you can get started on some of those questions there. Yeah.
Sure, Surabhi, thank you so much. So I think I'll start with saying that, the definition of inclusivity itself has sort of evolved, especially post-pandemic, right? And every industry is sort of relooking at the way they're working. There is a huge war for talent, and having a parameter of inclusion within their workplace really enables them to sort of tap this, resource pool that they never had. And what's great right now is, the conversation is shifting from universal access to universal experience, which is great. And to be honest, for us, when I was learning, I was in architecture, accessibility was what was equated to inclusion. But we are slowly learning that the generation that we are sort of dealing with right now is probably the most diverse set of workforce that we have now. No, we're not just talking about differently able. We're talking about gender. We're talking about sexual orientation. We're talking about neurodivergence. So there's a whole spectrum of talent that we are now trying to cater to. And having a very intentional approach to ensuring that each one of them is having an equitable experience with their workspace is becoming more and more important. Which is why I think as designers, when we are trying to come up with that perfect, workplace solutions, it's almost a demand right now to ensure that, the decision making during the design process is really involving multiple stakeholders. So we're not just talking to the real estate team, not just the facility management team. We are talking to the HR and making sure there is, right representation during this design journey. So that's becoming more and more critical, and that's very refreshing to see as well, because the perspectives that come about from these conversations really adhere to what we want to really do. The other aspect to inclusivity is also the idea that it has its nuances, and it does depend on sometimes geography also. So for example, there are countries where maternity leave is given for 12 months. So there the conversation is really around, will a mother's room be really used? And there are countries like Sweden and some parts of the US where the conversation is around having a parent room versus a mother's room, because it adds those shades of parenthood. So it's a very nuanced topic. There's no one, solution fitting all, but it's a very interesting space for us designers to be in, because we are in that privileged position to ensure that we are giving this great experience to everyone who's sort of working in a workspace.
Thank you, Nasira. I would like to actually get some FM approach on this, or actually organizational operational side of it. And maybe because you can throw some light on the inclusive workplace. It goes beyond a lot in terms of making safer workplaces, as I, kind of relate to from our FM worlds. So yeah, over to you, Vikas.
Thank you. And Nazira, thanks for your insights. Definitely, as we see now in today's scenario, diversity, equity, and inclusion is now the buzzword in any organization, and designers have a tough job. When I say a tough job now, like say, it's not only about now a particular gender, it is about a caste, creed, religion, wherever you're coming from now, the workplace has to be inclusive. Inclusive also to the kind of the age group the workplace is catering to, okay? Because we always focus now what the millennials, which comprise now majority of the population what we have today as a workforce, but then are we catering enough to the needs of the other age groups as well? So it's very difficult. And a mother's room, yes, it's a given in any facility today. Now, I don't see or now don't recollect any facility not having a mother's room, which I would have visited over the last 5, 6 years. It's an integral part of any facility.
Right.
Then another aspect what designers of today also look at is from our perspective, I'm telling, uh, the various graphic packages, because those are the pictorial representations which represent the culture of your organization, how you look at it. Even the colors to that extent are not taken into mind that what you are planning or how you are going about doing it. Those aspects are also very critical because they reflect the image of the organization, and you need to be not hurting or impacting the feelings or sentiments of any of these groups what you are catering for as your target employee groups which are there. And also you need to be mindful of that the campuses you are designing have a good mix of your indoor and outdoor games, and also look at now having those games which are typically now preferred by the different gender groups also, because see, we all talk about cricket, but how many of us know that now the preference amongst the females is not cricket? They look at now badminton. We did a survey for our organization and said now most of the ladies, they wanted badminton court as now an integral part of the facility. So all those things have to be kept in mind and while designing the facility, and we are very mindful of that and have factored all those kind of preferences. But yes, accessibility continues to remain at the center of all this, because having a workforce which can be, you can say, integrated as part of your mainframe workforce which is there. So having accessible friendly facility is also there, but can we make it across the facility? The answer probably is no, because there are a lot of changes and design patterns which need to be configured into it. However, all the organizations make a dedicated effort to have it at least across, like we have made 2 floors as accessible friendly, and we try to now get any employees who come from that segment are seated on those floors, and we cater to all their needs and requirements across those floors.
Yeah, so I think what I was also trying to kind of weigh into was that inclusion is not just gender driven, one point. The other point was that, it is also to do with multi-generational nuances in the workplace, which have to be treated in the, creating that inclusivity, creating safer workplaces is a totally experience driven as well as a culture driven process. So it's so ingenious to every organization. Another thing that I kind of explored in my workings was also around the personas of people, which I think, Vikas, you picked up very well on. People can be extroverted versus introverted people, and those have not been catered to in the workplace so very well. And so the introverts kind of get left behind and sometimes pick that as an opportunity not to go in the workplace because it's not treating them rightly. Like it could be a sports, for example, or a club or a community. So ultimately, when you're trying to create a community in that workplace and trying to engage, this becomes a very important aspect. And I actually wanted to also kind of bring that experience part, which Sumit, I guess you can talk a little bit more on. I mean, it starts to tie into the hybrid workplaces, which also needs a lot of address, like remote working to in present. Does that mean, if I'm a remote worker, am I really inclusive in that community? So how all of that experience, technologies, maybe Sumit, you can throw some light on that aspect.
So I think we'll take a step back and like what Vikas was saying, I think all of us need to just understand whom are we catering to start with. Because to our minds, the big miss which we are seeing in the market is that, like you said, it's a multi-generational workforce. And what that essentially means is that you have a bunch of different segments of workforces coming together. Today, if you look at the entire conversation on the Gen Z, we are clearly seeing that they are probably still not even interested to be in the office unless there is the right experience which is created for them. So I think when we look at the entire experience quotient and how it ties in with hybrid, how it ties in with design, uh, at least we've been very actively talking to the market on something which we called as an ROX. It's essentially return on experience. What is your experience strategy? Are you measuring it the right way? What constitutes return on experience? Roshan earlier spoke about the happiness quotient, the culture connect, and I was also keen to understand more on that, which maybe I pick up with him offline. But the big question which we are seeing a lot of organizations trying to answer today is, how do you measure the success of that entire experience quotient? Is it measured by performance? Is it measured by level of attrition? Is it measured by pulse checks on happiness and satisfaction? And how does it tie in with the entire agile framework? So to our minds, I think the most critical factor in bringing about a successful hybrid strategy today, especially when RTO numbers are going up across sectors, is really to take a step back, rethink engagement models, rethink how you as an organization are going to measure the ROX in the longer term, and then start to put in place strategies. And I think the only added point which I'd like to bring up is, I think one of us just spoke about, this piece where, let's say, for example, to cater to neurodiverse individuals or the likes, you're creating more quiet zones in the space. But then how many organizations, after creating that quiet zone, have been able to make that a successful model on an operations basis without singling that part of the workforce out? Because you can't call a space as a quiet space for neurodiverse individuals. You can't call them out. And I think that's where the other big gap in the market of what we are seeing is that, has this entire conversation on inclusivity moved up the curve as far as day-to-day running and ops is concerned? It's definitely moved up as far as design, but has it really gone up on the FM curve?
That's a very good point, Sumit. And I think it starts to go that once a design is done, the next is how is it run, right? And the FM strategies are going to be very pivotal for next generational workplace. How technologies interplay in that sequel, how they perform, how the experience is driven. So it's a valid point. Without measuring, you cannot kind of improve because you don't know where you stand as a baseline. And then, you're driving an experience for who. So the data is very, very critical in terms of the strategic of your workplace. And so understanding your people, your data, your leadership, all of that sort of culminates into the workplace strategy, as you call it. And, anyone wants to answer the FM piece, I think it's you.
No, so I wanted to talk on the measurement part of it, that how do you measure that ROX? So we being vendors to customers like all of you, right? And DEI being something that is the core of the strategy of most of the responsible companies today, right? And even if we look at the Sanskrit old phrase known as Vasudev Kutumbakam, I mean, we knew it decades or centuries later, right? But the corporate world started realizing this maybe 7 years, 8 years back, started implementing it after COVID or just before COVID. That is when we also started our journey on DEI, because we firmly believe that DEI is extremely, extremely crucial to the success of any organization, and in fact to the success of mankind as a whole, right? We took clear targets as a part of our 5 years sustainability program. We had clear targets on DEI, right? We had clear targets on the percentage of women that we would want in leadership, the percentage of population lesser than 30, that is the younger population, the Gen Z population that we would want in the organization, targets on the specially abled employees that we would like to have in the organization, right? And
like to digress from there, because I think there's a lot of data around and every organization is struggling that, hey, we want women in the workplace. We are still at 10%. We want to be 20% or some kind of I think more around like how are we enabling that would be pivotal, because there is a lot of data sitting around. True.
Yeah, because what I was coming to is that we took it as a part of our program. Right? How are we enabling it is, see, when you start with an initiative, you have to lead it from the front. You have to deploy targets across your teams to be able to do it. And hence we deployed these targets and we are on track. So For example, for the women in leadership, from 17% in 2019, right, to now we are at about 25%, and we expect to be at 34%, which was our target. Similarly, we are also on targets, even on the other fronts that I spoke about, on the young generation, on the differently abled, etc. Right. So this is also what is helping us understand that when this change is happening in the corporate world, right? How are the needs of these offices changing, and also align our portfolio based on these needs. So this new office that there's a new office that we are coming up in Bangalore, in Bharati City, right? Maybe a month from now, I'll invite all of you to come and have a look at it, right? So we've tried to bring in this aspect of how do we make this office space as inclusive as possible, with inputs from the architect fraternity, from the designer fraternity, right? And how lighting also plays an important role in being able to do so. So I think it's about how do we imbibe this first internally, and then we start helping out everyone around us to be able to do it.
We are on the sustainability topic. I know we are on a time clock. All our, audience getting restless, but I would like on where the sustainable efforts are happening in terms of workplace, since the topic is around and you are doing the world's best co-working spaces.
Yes.
And so what's kind of happening there in terms of doing this together?
We have actually set very measurable, specific goals for ourselves. In fact, we did our first sustainability summit last year, where we announced our goals in the presence of industry and government sustainability experts. So in fact, we have specific goals for water conservation, and we've called out explicitly, from 40 liters to 20 liters, energy conservation, waste management, diverting it from landfills by 90%, switching to 100% renewable electricity, all of this between 2026 and 2027. So this actually keeps us accountable because we've made this announcement and we've taken a lot of measures to make sure that these happen. In fact, we've already made a lot of progress. Apart from this, we've also introduced a lot of measures within our buildings. For example, we've completely done away with single-use plastic. It's from 2019, in fact. We use reusable cutlery and drinkware in our buildings. We have biodegradable plates. We use eco-friendly cleaning products. So there's a host of measures we've taken to make sure that whatever we can to do within our buildings, we're doing.
That's so wonderful to hear, and no wonder people connect so much to the WeWork kind of spaces, because it goes beyond connecting the community from hearts and minds. And I think sustainability is one of those efforts which has to be very genuine and not, I would say, certificate driven. It has to be genuine terms of effort. So I would maybe, because actually I'm itching to hear from client perspective, what kind of sustainable efforts are happening in your organization, and what you see as a forthcoming in the next coming years for you?
See, as we all know, all organizations these days are taking sustainability at the forefront of their operations, and it is the need of the hour. And we being the privileged lot who have much better insights and capabilities to look at options and means to drive those initiatives, I believe we are taking the lead. And it is, when I say we, I mean the tech companies or the Fortune 100 companies which are there now. Everybody is driving that mission. Okay. And from an Adobe standpoint, we are committed to now net zero emissions by 2050. However, we are also bringing forward quite a few of our goals. Like today, we operate on clean energy or green energy for around 90% of our total operations globally are on clean and green energy. We are looking forward to achieving 100% over the next 2 years. We had a target for 2030, but we are bringing it forward to 2026. And we are confident we are on the right path. In fact, the campus, thank you, the campus at San Jose, which went live in December of 2022, was the first campus operating on 100% green power in California.
I had the opportunity to see that campus. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So that's what we stand for, and we look forward to how we can further push that cause of sustainability. And when we talk about the local perspective, I would like to put on table here that here in Bangalore, all our home to home operations are driven by electricity, EV vehicles, the electricity vehicles which are there. And at Noida also, we plan to complete it over the next 3 months. By end of August, we will be done with that. So those are the kind of initiatives we as an organization take a lot of pride in driving in. And we feel that now we can contribute or make an impact to the environment. However, this is just the tip of the iceberg. There are a lot of things to be done, and it will take an effort and engagement from all of us to make it possible. Like we also started with this now biogas plant at our premises, at our new building, where food waste of around, we have a food waste generated of around 350 kgs today, which get converted to biogas, which is enough to power 2 ranges in our own kitchen. We have it at the campus, rather than just sending it to the landfill now for doing, we are creating now biogas out of it. And that's what we would look forward to, many corporates now coming forward and embracing that. So in the interest of time, I'll now give it back to
So
you.
this does touch into the circular workspace design as well. As you know, sustainability is kind of like the baby there in, in terms of where the circular, economy and circular workspace designs that we are talking about. And that's all happening. If you hear from, our panelists here, that there is a lot of effort going on to make this happen. I would love some, from Rihan, what your perspective
That's
is on.
Rahil.
Yeah, sorry, Rahil, sorry.
So, Survi, I think the experts have spoken and they have deep dive into the subject. I'll just touch the surface about, what we are noticing in our client conversations. Since we are exposed to multiple stakeholders, we have the good fortune of knowing what the pulse is. In our previous conversations with clients, the value proposition points used to be cost in identifying the site, location, and the floor efficiency, right? Well, that has completely changed now. It's gone to from an organizational value proposition to an employee value proposition to ESG and HSSE, whether the project or the site is compliant, and sustainability, whether the building has green power, uh, D&I. It actually starts not just at the building, but choosing the developer, choosing the location, whether there's public transport connectivity, metro access, etc. So that there's no, partiality in accessibility for anybody. So ESG, HSSE, DNI, amenities, a very large aspect. I mean, we're suddenly having conversations around daycare centers. So I think it's a concerted effort from developers and occupiers. And thankfully, we are from a market where everybody is growing organically and collaboratively, where I think the developers are learning from the occupiers, mature occupiers such as Vikas have been in the business for a long time and have seen the whole cycle. And the last part is, I think, what we used to do as a services economy to what we are doing, the whole value chain, right? We used to be a very BPO sort of a, economy to what we are doing. We're solving the world's problems now in terms of engineering, products, and pretty much developing what North America can do. India is doing perhaps, cheaper, better. We have the world's youngest population as well. Our median age is 28, which is the youngest in the world. So the effort is much more. And because we are not just a recovering economy now, we are actually on the growth mode. So you see these conversations more in this part of the world than anywhere else, perhaps.
Absolutely.
So that's our
I
observation.
think it is very, very exciting to have a mixed group of panelists here. I think all of you would appreciate that, because you're getting a perspective from corporate side, design perspective, and service provider, and in between, the bridge of how you're, providing the next level of co-working spaces I think it needs a lot of effort and thinking to be on a continued basis to really evolve the next gen workplace that we are talking about today. Personally, I think that there is a lot of collaboration needed across these groups because it's at a macro level and a micro level exercise that's happening clearly around the workplace of tomorrow. Also, I think one of the groups we are missing here is the landlords. There is a whole load of responsibility that sits on their head in terms of bringing that ESG that you talked about and how they are, bringing the mixed use buildings, amenities to really make the DNI and all of these other aspects of sustainability really make it happen at the ground level. So I would like to thank all of your time, but I also would like to open it up to the audience if there are any questions for our panelists today. I think it's been just hitting, touching the grass on the very grass level. We can still go on the topic, but since there is, it's night time and you guys are all probably heading towards the dinner, I just open it.
We did another half an hour, 45 minutes, Surabhi, for this.
Yeah, so opening for a few, like 2 or 3 questions, if anybody wants to, raise some questions here. Oh, I can't believe that. Okay, so well, I think you answered all the questions, which is brilliant, and really want to thank the time.
I think we've got, okay, it's out of time, but we have the 5 seconds, so I'll just add one layer of summary for everyone. I mean, to our minds, at least, I think if there is one big change we've seen over the last 4 years on what we were doing in terms of defining next gen workplaces, whether you look at landlords, whether you look at occupiers, is the emergence of placemaking. I mean, in simple terms, I think both the occupier community and the developer community are working really hard as we speak on not just creating an identity and an experience to their parks and to the spaces, but also focusing on activating them in some form, right? And when you start to think on that, look at the kind of maturity that the market is going through in terms of a curve. And if you relay that forward for another 4-5 years, we are probably seeing a very, very different way in which this entire ecosystem is going to operate. And I think maturity curve is only going up. So it's really healthy to just witness all of this happening. And the good part is we are seeing it across all sectors. Yeah. It's not limited to only 1 or 2 particular ones. Yeah, so just wanted to share that as a sort of a conclusion, at least from our side. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. That's speaking and planning and frameworks are going to take us forward into that vision of the future and really make it happen. So thank you, everyone. And thanks, audience. You have been lovely having us.
So much because coming up this topic and bringing up such integrated questions into the panel discussion. Thank you so much. If we could just have you forward for an group photo. Round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Without much ado, we will quickly thank you so much, panel speakers. Thank you so much for your time and your presence here, sharing your insights. We'll quickly move to the next sessions. We're going to keep this very quick and literally like rapid fire right now. For our next session, we have Mr. Venkat, who is the National Manager at Hafle India. And I'm going to quickly call him on stage and help us understand what Hafle's portfolio is all about. Venkat, please do come on stage.
Good evening, one and all. I know, it's that time of the day where I cannot probably stand in between the cup and the lip. So I'll quickly take you through what Hafle is into, right? And it's a wonderful gathering here and in this amazing, room of all creative minds, right? So, all right. So I'm sure that many of us know what Hafle is into, right? So typically we think about kitchens, we think about homes. So what we would want to probably quickly take you through is how the brand has evolved, right? So, Affle started in 1923 with very, very humble beginnings as a small furniture shop in Germany. And slowly, right, so Hafele started spreading its wings internationally. And in India, we started in 2003. And as we stand in 2024, so by 2023, we completed 100 years globally and also 20 years in India. So we've got, around 38 foreign subsidiaries, and of course, the logistics centers accordingly, the sales offices, uh, through which we typically, cater to our clients. And then we have a head office, which is based out of Kanjurmarg in Mumbai, followed by regional offices across each and every region, I would say, or rather the top 9 cities in India, followed by logistics centers, which caters to different regions, which are located in, Kolkata, Bangalore, Delhi, and Mumbai. So quickly to take you through what we can do for the interior spaces. I'm sure as I started by saying that we are more into kitchens, we are also big time into interiors. So let me quickly walk you through the functional areas when we typically enter an office space, right? So I would rather go straight away for want of time to the layout where probably, we can play around. So typically for doors, right, in a typical office interior space. So for doors, we have got various types of doors: glass doors, flush doors, wooden doors, and then we've got various solutions after the advent of probably COVID. So I would say that automatics is probably leading the way. Automatics in all, of course, we just saw a presentation from Roshan, how AI is definitely needed. But again, this is a very touchy topic because it's more touchless in nature. And we've got automatics for both sliding as well as swing doors for an office premises, followed by half lane normal, you have those manual sliding system, which is typically made out of glass or for that matter, wood. So again, we are also big time into that, followed by any conference room, if I have to say, right? So of course, hardware is definitely there. Half-lay hardware is definitely there. What more can we give there is typically the mobile walls, the sliding folding partitions, which are acoustic in nature. Of course, the acoustics vary depending on the kind of applications. So we've got that both in glass, where probably you can partition a complete space, depending on the aesthetics that typically it brings into the space, or probably you can have a partition system which is acoustic and it is MDF. The finishing can be any. So quickly we move on to the meeting rooms, other than just the hardware, right, which you see on screen. So we are also into the fire doors. So the fire door hardware, typically in any interior space. And furniture solutions, I'm sure a lot of us know that we are into space saving solutions. So in a typical office environment where there is a want of space, I'm sure that Hafle can add value by giving those very, very innovative solutions where you can look at the space in a totally different way. And then, of course, the digi locks for all the lockers that we currently are part of in many projects. And yeah, so this is again a very interesting product where it's again a digi lock, but it's again operated through RFID cards, right? So something that we've been giving to a lot of corporate spaces today. So slowly getting into the lighting part, while we have strip lights, which is going to be part of your, interior, especially in the furniture part. And also there are down lights, right? So these are again going to have a huge play in the interior segment. And quickly we move to the architectural lighting, which is a newborn baby, which we launched an year back, right? And then pantry solutions, while we just saw that Hafle is a pioneer when it comes to kitchen fittings. Pantry isn't far behind. So in pantry, again, we can give a lot of drawer systems, especially for pullouts, and also waste management of both wet as well as dry wastes. And in the pantry, again, we've got, sinks, faucets, which probably adds more, variety to your overall aesthetics of the pantry. and of course, appliances. So not just the home appliances, which I'm sure many here would be using in their houses, but also in the pantry, I'm sure there would be dishwashers, which Hafele can probably add value in. And of course, the small appliances, which are, the coffee machine and the kettle, where we can probably, bring in a little bit of more aesthetics along with the functionality. Surfaces is again a very big part of the Hafele portfolio. Again, we've got three brands within the Hafele portfolio, which is Caesar Stone, Dectin, and Terra. And these are surfaces which are quad surfaces, which can go as countertops in reception, pantry, and also flooring. Right. So Terra is a homegrown brand of Hafele, which is part of our own assortment. And quickly moving to the various applications that you see here, even a table or for that matter, an exterior, right? It can be completely cladded with, our engineered stone, which we call as Dectin. And these are some of our projects that, we take a lot of pride in presenting. And, I'm sure a lot here would also add value to it. And last but not the least, the service promise, because that's of utmost importance to us. So we do end-to-end measurements, drawings, and also installation. So it's a 360-degree approach that we have within the Hafele umbrella. And thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Venkat, for so quickly wrapping up this session. I'd like to quickly call on stage Mr. Architect Anandya Sundarde, who is the principal architect at Interior Maker. He is going to quickly run us through what art and its importance is in workspaces. Anandya,
Good evening, everybody. I'm so grateful to ITP. Here we are. I'm just not a tech guy. I'm not just a marketing guy also. I'm an architect. And here, I just say you something about our interior maker. Here, please, Chetan. Can you run this?
At Interior Maker, we don't simply create spaces, we craft experiences. From homes to offices, restaurants to hotels, we understand how design impacts your life. For years, we have been Kolkata and Bangalore's trusted design partner, transforming spaces and creating countless happy clients. And now our expertise expands to encompass the entire nation. Interior Maker is now nationwide. Our award-winning team leverages cutting-edge technology to deliver exceptional design solutions wherever you are in India. Whether it is a complete transformation or a strategic space refresh, we bring your vision to life with experience and creativity. From bustling metros to serene coastal towns, we create spaces tailored to your unique needs and aspirations. With Interior Maker, the journey to your dream space starts with a seamless consultation. Interior Maker, design that elevates your space wherever you are in India.
Basically, we are architect, but we are creative person. We cannot say something about or sell something by word. We can create something, draw something, maybe design. Today is Buddha Purnima, and Buddha Purnima means calm, quietness, and all. Here, this is Interior Maker presents Craftity. I'm talking something about crafty. Crafty basically is an artisan's work. We can create something with clay, like dokras. It's a handmade thing. In this tech capital in India is Bengaluru. We are here. We are talking about smart work offices and all. And I think smartness complete where calmness is in. So calmness where is echoes and this kind of elementary things are there. The clay is a ultimate thing of calmness. I'm not taking so much time of yours. You just go through my presentations and AV. After that, this is all. Good night.
Thank you so much, Ananda, for again keeping this so crisp and quick. Just like this, our final speaker for the evening is Saurabh Agarwal, who is the Vice President for Commercials at Wellspun Flooring. Requesting him to also just quickly give us a glimpse into Wellspun's portfolio before the panel next.
Sure, Rashmi. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Saurabh Agarwal, and I'm representing Wellspun Flooring. Without taking much of a time, Wellspun Flooring is a part of a Wellspun World, which is a Indian conglomerate present in more than 50 countries. And when we say flooring, we are into the business of making carpets. Now, as the picture suggests, that we are in the business of making carpets and a lot of other flooring solutions. So I'll just quickly take you through a brief journey of Wellspun and Wellspun Flooring, and then we will discuss on some other points. So, is this working?
Wellspun World is a name synonymous with innovation and leadership. It is an Indian multinational conglomerate with state-of-the-art facilities across the world. The group has a robust presence in over 50 countries. Today, Wellspun is one of the global leaders in home textiles and line pipes. The manufacturing of the iconic Wimbledon towels is now done in India, which speaks about the quality and the standard that the brand upholds. Wellspun has set up one of the most technologically advanced manufacturing facilities for producing carpet tiles, broadloom carpets, artificial grass, and SPC flooring spread across 300 acres of land. We have LEED certification by USGBC and IGBC, a certified zero-waste plant, and many more. It is one of the few vertically integrated plants for carpet tiles in the world. The tucked-in unit with large number of machines ensures high production capacity while maintaining quality and consistency. Our wall-to-wall carpet production unit offers printed and highly sophisticated customized carpet designs that are used in some of the top hotels. This is the most automated packaging facility, which ensures high-quality product delivered to you in the best shape. Our hard flooring stone polymer composite tiles are the amalgamation of both quality and design and can be widely used in commercial, hospitality, and residential projects. Our state-of-the-art NABL accredited labs ensure we deliver only the best product to our consumers. All our products are also tested in top US labs, ensuring the world-class quality. Let's look at some of our innovations. Introducing our CO2 Pure Carpet Tiles. We are the first ever brand to create carpets with a specialized coating, which absorbs the CO2 in the air and neutralizes it, thereby improving the air quality, resulting in higher employee productivity. Resilon X. Every year, 482 billion bottles of plastic are produced, which end up getting collected in the environment. Introducing Resilon X, the world's most technologically advanced PET yarn, made by 100% recycled plastic bottles, made through a transparent and traceable process using renewable energy. Wellspun Flooring is proud to share that we have designed and supplied 2.2 lakh square feet of carpet for the Bharat Mandapam, where the G20 summit was hosted. With Wellspun, your flooring needs end here, as we are your one-stop flooring solution. Step up to Wellspun Flooring, made in India, made for the world products.
So, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you liked our journey of Wellspun Flooring, made in India, made for the world product. Now, being a part of a carpet company, I can talk loads about the designs. But due to the paucity of the time, I would request each one of you to come to our booth. But I would definitely like to talk quickly about two innovations which we talked about, and I'm sure that'll be something of the interesting to you. If you see the right-hand side figure, what this figure is representing. This figure is representing, if you take, I'm sure we see all these bottles we use day in and day out, these PET bottles. Now, if I crush this bottle, it will not be more than a spoonful of the powder. The type of the bottles which we are generating across the globe in a given year, the height of that powder itself is more than Burj Khalifa. So in a given year, we are generating multiples of Burj Khalifa across the world. And where are these going? These are going into our oceans and in all our Mother Earth. And the life is, say, maybe hundreds of the years. So definitely this was a point which we thought our R&D team worked for almost 3 to 4 years. And we thought that what we can do with this particular product. And we came out with a wonderful product that means a beautiful carpet made from these waste plastic bottles. Now the question is that how does it translate into some mathematics? I'm sure everybody would be interested in knowing that. So just to give an idea, I'm sure we have so much of dignitaries over there and with large facilities. Just 1 lakh square feet of carpet, if you're using, you will have the privilege of, or you will have the pleasure of removing 2.3 lakh such bottles from the Mother Earth. So this is something which is right sustainability, which we can talk about. So this is something which is interesting, and I would request, if possible, please try and use such products from various manufacturers in terms of the various product lines. Moving on, the one more product I would like to talk about is which is a very, very unique. All of us know that the carbon dioxide is absorbed only by the plants or the trees. Now, what if I say from tomorrow, Wellspun will do it for you? Sound something interesting? Sound something different? So we have, ladies and gentlemen, we have launched a carpet which comes with a very specialized coating, which can react with the carbon dioxide present in the room, a room like this, and then convert that into a salt. And that is how it is able to remove or reduce the carbon dioxide present in the room, and definitely making the overall environment a very healthy environment in the room. And again, definitely it would need some statistics. So 1 lakh square feet of a space done with our CO2 pure carpet tiles is as good as having 90 full grown trees in your, like in your premises. So that's something which is the power of the technology. That's something which is the power of the new research and development. That's all. I'll just quickly take you through a few room scenes. Some of the carpets which we have installed. I'll not take much of the time on that. And this is a list of our impressive customers. We have done the projects which are, say, 2.5 million square feet for one single customer. And we are one of the topmost companies globally and now in India as well. So would love you to be a part of this. I would request each one of you, whenever you get time, please come to our booth, which is just behind you. Thank you very much.
So much, Mr. Saurabh Agarwal. Now moving to the last session of the day, which is the panel discussion on one of the most unique topics that was honestly suggested by Fancy herself, who is also moderating this panel. And this topic is about upcycling workspaces. This is about tackling a building's midlife crisis, where the infrastructure remains intact, but your facilities is running down, needs update. You have to revamp it, refurbish it. And sometimes it becomes more difficult handling these
Some call me
projects than
Nate.
even creating or building brand new from the scratch. So taking us through this journey, I'm going to call on stage my speakers for this particular panel discussion. Girija Rangaswamy, who is the head of facilities India at Texas Instruments. We also have joining her Murli Talapaneni, who is the executive director, head India design and construction for and the founder and inclusive. And moderating and directing this panel is very dynamic panel. George, who is the CEO for Thomas Workplace Design. Fancy with this, I'm going to quickly hand this over to you. And ladies and gentlemen, request you all to seats. This is the final session, and it would be really great if you could share it with the speakers here. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Rashmi. Okay, we'll try and be as brief as we can. It's really late, and one of our panelists had to leave early as well. Start. I wanted to start with this. I think it's important for us to kind of focus on this before we jump into the panel.
Some call me nature. Others call me Mother Nature. I've been here for over 4.5 billion years, 22,500 times longer than you. I don't really need people, but people need me. Yes, your future depends on me. When I thrive, you thrive. When I falter, you falter. Or worse. But I've been here for eons. I have fed species greater than you, and I have starved species greater than you. My oceans, my soil, my flowing streams, my forests, they all can take you or leave you. How you choose to live each day, whether you regard or disregard me, doesn't really matter to me. One way or the other. Your actions will determine your fate, not mine. I am nature. I will go on. I am prepared to evolve. Are you?
So that was the voice of Julia Roberts. It's a very, very strong documentary that happened about, I think 9 years back that it came out. And Sriram, just yesterday, he was like telling me about it, and I was like, just perfect to start our panel. We are at this, point or juncture in our industry where there's a lot of buildings that are like getting really old and aging, okay? And I want you to go look at this. This literally is that Ghaziabad, Ghazipur landfill, okay? And it's like 10 stories tall. I always start with this because it's just something that you need to look at. And it affected me quite badly when I was in Delhi so many years back looking at this, And I was checking with Sriram on the statistics because I didn't want to get it wrong. He told me 600 million tons from construction and demolition goes into landfill. You go on Google, it says 150 or 170. Are we hearing the right story here? So it's so important for us as a community, as a real estate industry, to focus a lot more on doing what is right. It is just so important for us to do what is right and not just talk. We need to walk the talk. So I just want to kind of, start this literally, talk a little bit through the buildings that are coming up right now. So many of our facilities or your facilities are like 15 to 20 years old. There are lots of workplaces which are also 15 to 20 years old coming up for retrofitting. Are we doing the right thing by like demolishing everything in there and restarting? Or is there some way of like, trying to say what's there? So I just wanted to start off with Murli here, because I think he had a lot of interesting takeaways on the age of the building. Murli, if you could just kind of throw some light there.
Yeah. Thank you, and thanks for this opportunity. I think the midlife crisis that most of us here, I think I'm successful today. I have five
And thank you
lovely
for-
women next to me.
And thank you for saving this panel and, kind of balancing out the.
Yeah, so I think uh, a lot of people spoke about India is in growth phase, and and we are in the beginning. And I think soon we will start realizing the problems that the West is going through with respect to the wastage of construction of builds. So generally, if you look at it, any building, you derive the building lifespan from the financial planning and the depreciation. Like structures, you do it for 50 years, and if it comes to fit outs, you talk about 10 years, and IT and other equipment like 3 to 5 years. So every company have a plan how they would span these buildings and what these retrofits are going to be. I think as Fancy mentioned, most of our buildings in India when IT era took off is now either coming for financial planning renewals, or the whole economic situation is changed. Now, most of the areas, the buildings, the regulatory aspects have changed. What it means is certain areas we're getting more FSI, which means you build less space, you can demolish the building and do a bigger building, or something like we now would speak about the new regulations like accessibility. A lot of people spoke about earlier. Now this is a mandatory rule, and most of the buildings, including the government who passed the law, does not have the accessibility for their buildings. So a lot more regulatory things drive these recycling or upcycling of these buildings.
Thank you, Lee. So just want to kind of jump into Reshmi, because I think in terms of challenges on trying to do something like this, you can explain how many million square feet you own right now, but what are the kind of challenges you face and something that, this audience can take away from?
Yeah, one of the challenges during COVID and beyond was the scale that we had, right? And it continues to be a challenge because it was very easy for a lot of organizations which was operating out of leased facilities to exit and say that, I'm downsizing, I'm done, I'm on the right side of sustainability, I'm in keeping with what hybrid is, etc. But as one of the larger owned and owner occupier in this space, it was very tough for us to do that. There was no chance that we could have ever done that. So the only way was for us to really look at buildings and then decide what aligned with something that we wanted to keep for future, where you could do retrofit, you could do interventions and make it compatible to the the workforce's need today.
Is it looked at as something that you must do? Like save
Absolutely.
Is it? Yeah.
Absolutely. And while the pressure is always on, how long does something take to depreciate? And this is a fight that we always have with our controllership teams. It's very important to get all your stakeholders aligned while doing it. Apart from the challenges that we have on the facilities or project side, which is, when you tackle aged buildings, you may not have all the information related to it. You may not have as-built drawings. You have no idea where what is running. Over the years, people would have just done whatever they want. And these are a lot of times operational buildings. So you have to actually create, inroads into your stakeholder population, break through them, and then say that, okay, What's in it for me for the CFO? What's in it for me for compliance? Because there could be a lot of points that come through it. And then comes experience. So like the earlier panel also spoke about, every single stakeholder that you have mapped for this needs to come together to do this. And then, of course, when you really do it, one of the challenges that I have also seen when we talk to our project teams is reliable, dependable partners to work through some of these things. Because it's easier to do a greenfield project. It's easier to start from scratch something that's not there. It's very difficult to retrofit or very difficult to actually work in an operational area because of all the challenges that I just spoke of. But it's something we must do. We have a duty to actually do that, because while it is aligned to our net zero goals and it baked into everything that we do, investing at the right time in the right place so that the right product is ultimately providing the experience to our people, that's very, very key. So
No, that's great. Good inputs. And I just want to jump to Girija. Is this a new concept?
I think recycling, repurposing is something that is not new at all to India. We are coming from such no legacy thing. We do till the end of the life of the product, we use it. Whether toothbrush to any furniture, we look for how long I'm going to keep it. 40 years when I pass it on to my next generation. That is, I think, very part of our blood itself for Indians. So this concept of circular design, recycling, repurposing, I think these are all fancy words which have come. Having said that, there is some certain amount of improvement which is required, that awareness that we are creating. Compared to many other countries, I agree with when Rohan was speaking. He said we are ahead of the curve. Many areas we are ahead of the curve in terms of sustainability, in terms of the awareness. I feel that we generate less waste than US. But I was speaking to some time back, we were sending it all to scrap. I was speaking to this scrap supplier that what do you do, where it goes end of the day. So one by one, what he said was very interesting. Like he sends all the wooden products, not the ply, other wood. He will make it into charcoal and he sells it to tandoor. I think they have shortage of charcoal in the tandoor industry and he sends it there. Then I looked at Amazon. It was half a kg, I think 350 rupees for charcoal. So it is a very good business, right? And he is reusing it. And also, he was also saying all the fabric he'll remove and sell it to fabric industry, textile industry, and all the carpet, the rubber, he will separate it out. And doors, he'll relaminate and make it into another, he'll sell it. It will be used for another 10 years. So we are designing something and we are using it more than 40, 50 years. It goes on like that. I think Indians, it's not new to us.
Yeah, and you will know because you should catch her YouTube videos. She really does go and visit a lot of temples, and there's a lot of knowledge that you can pick off that. Thank you. Thanks for that. And you're absolutely right. It's just not at all an old concept. And I think we have Sangeeta here in the audience who actually makes panels out of construction waste. There are a lot of them who are like doing good. Sriram, a lot of them. So I think, we need to try and see how best to use some of their products. But the challenges that we face in terms of certification, the materiality, Priscilla, maybe you can throw some light on the material usage, because are we like in this rut of like going on just picking what's in the market, or should we be like questioning what's going into this, into our facilities, and how do we try and push for products that are recycled or products that have recycled content in it? How do we push for these kind of things? Of course, there are certifications, there are a lot of challenges, but something that, maybe this audience needs to hear. How do we overcome those challenges?
See, the challenges when it comes to office refurbishment is first thing that hits you is the global standards that you have in place, where you cannot just go ahead and do what you like or what is local. So they they put regulations as to what you should have and what you should not. I think the first thing as torchbearers for this, we should ideally target our stakeholders and emphasize on the upcycling and sustainable initiatives, and tell them that it is advisable, or maybe make it local. It's not been entirely global, but have some touches of the local craftsmen and workmanship involved when it comes to refurbishing our workspaces, and that gives a local touch to them, right?
No, absolutely. I think that's one way of looking at it. And I want to jump to Veena there because uh, when it comes to like upcycling existing workplaces and now the ESG aspect. So here is an inclusive or a neurodiverse, consultant that has to now come in and tell everybody what to do. How do you retrofit? Is it difficult? Okay.
Thank you, Fancy. Hello, everyone. So to start with, we have started with the video that being human, empathetic, and what are the choices we make that will have huge impact on our environment. It could be at our social level or at professional level. So as Fancy mentioned, when we go for retrofit, what are the different challenges? So we can have different assessment from ESG context, where entire environmental aspects, because when we look at United Nations Sustainability Development Goals, right from eradicating poverty to SDG 17, that is partnership, it is aligned into three pillars: ESG, environment, social, and governance. So when we talk about all environmental, it could be climate change, reducing the biodiversity, green glass emission. It could be taking a different approaches, how we can do a retrofit. It could be through modular furniture, because I was going through some of the best practices from Indian context. Being a consultant, I was looking for some of the statistics. Then I could see 20 to 30% of operational cost is reduced when we go for recycling and upcycling, when we are reusing the entire materials and resources.
So it's a
Sim-
misnomer. So we seem to
Yes.
think that it's going to be a lot more expensive, but it's not.
Yes.
Right. I mean, that's like an important takeaway, I'm telling you, because this is something I hear all the time. It's more expensive doing that. Go ahead.
Yeah, so adding to it could be technology involvement. It could be smart office spaces, operations, IoT. It could be having using more of biophilic designs where it will give natural element, more of using plant in the office spaces that will enhance the good air condition and well-being of the employees. So research says that it is reducing 10% of the absenteeism and 15% enhances in the productivity.
Yeah, thanks. So I want to throw this now at Murli because he's done this campus many years back. You think if 10, 15 years back, we had just made offices that had modularity or modular elements, we wouldn't have been in this space. Or, I mean, we wouldn't have had a problem right now.
Yeah, I think, the whole world is little bit lagging on changing from the tradition or from the traditional construction methods to the modern and modular. It's across the globe, and India is, somebody mentioned in the earlier discussions about being frugal. We think, doing it something on site would cost lesser. In reality is, we need to do a total life cycle cost of anything you do. I mentioned about financial planning for a building. When you start doing, it's not about, next 5 years, next 10 years. And then when you do entire building, 40 years or 30 years, and then when you demolish and what debris is going to come, and what will be possible regulations from now 40 years if I'm building now. If you want to dispose of concrete, what will be? And believe me, like how wildfire catches in India, like 2G or telephones or technology, this something what I'm talking about, this debris or construction waste is going to take the same storm, because we will not have any choice but make such regulations. And that's the time it's going to be tough. But coming to this, why I went for modularity is not really thinking about the future problem. I started from the current problem where the skilled workforce is coming down. And when I start going to the campuses to hire people, when I was selected in L&T, I had so much of energy that I want to work for L&T. And when I went for a campus selections as a employer, and people are asking, oh, I don't want to do site engineer job. I want planning. I want this. And then from there, move on to construction workers. And they're living in a pathetic condition that, we are talking about, everything about all what employees we spoke about earlier. Roshan was speaking, and then previous panel. What happens to all these workers? Aren't they employers? Aren't they human beings? And then I saw their conditions of living. And then the only way that we can improve the quality of life of these people and our life as a engineers to build. So then I realized it has to be something built in factory, assembled at site. And that's the way I started my journey. And a lot of people helped me when I was at a very short time in Infosys. I got access to understanding lean construction, and then some foreign companies, I was talking to them. And then I realized the only way you build is modular. So that's how my my previous project at NetApp, we built 100% steel structure as an office building, and entire retaining walls or 4 basements are actually precast made from Hyderabad and shifted here. And believe me, this entire building, if you dismantle in terms of the structure, 98% is recyclable. So that's people won't believe. You can go check the statistics. And then when you move into all interiors, 100% modular. And again, to justify what Veena said, recyclable products or modular products cost high, is somehow our benchmarks are flawed. And if you go and talk to some of our developers, they will say some numbers, and their calculation is different. And I did the same mistake when I went and presented to, when I was in Infosys, how much you will spend more by doing the steel and precast. I didn't go to business school by then. I went and presented it as 15-20% of the total cost. And they threw me out and then said, go do your work. So I kind of didn't know. So then I went to business school. I know how to put it back. So when NetApp campus financial presentation was there, went to board audit committee and said, I'm going to spend 1 cent per square feet per month extra by doing this. Are you guys willing to support? Why not 1 cent? You can take 4 cents, and if you can make something sustainable, and if you're sure of building in India. And that's a challenge they put. And then we accepted the challenge, and we figured out our own ways to build it. And believe me, entire modular, even interiors, 100% modular. You can dismantle any panel you want. So that's the level it went in. And it took up 5 years of hard work, and the no BP to BP, and no cholesterol to cholesterol, and no mental health to mental health issues. So I ended up with all that, but I thought that will be a good example for others to follow. Somehow in between pandemic and a lot of things changed. And I think, the speed at which that momentum is lost. I think it's again time to look back, in terms of, in terms of the sustainability or true sustainability. I think we should look back. This is something is what the world is offering, and every product that comes from factories now has a life, has a testing of their recyclability. So I think it's more better way to go is in modular.
Yeah, totally agree.
I just want to add, in addition to modular, designing a facility as with timeless design, thinking that speaking about sustainability and everything, and changing every 5 years or 10 years, changing the fit out, it is hypocrisy. So designing something for which can continue for 20-25 years is something that we need to do, so that we don't generate waste at all. Then the question of waste management.
Exactly, starting with ourselves, right?
With you.
Yes, this shoe is like 10 years old. I just changed the leather on it. So, no, seriously, I think personal goals, and because of the paucity of time, I'm just going to go over quickly just to understand your personal view on how you would like to see this industry evolve in the future. We'll just make it brief, 1-2 sentences, and just go over like with you, Reshma.
Yeah, I would look at it as a success if, Girija, you were just saying there's so much awareness already there, right? And then we still talk about it. if we are able to implement all of this and we don't have to put a case study in front of people, you don't need Julia Roberts to tell you that you only have one earth. I think that's when success would have come from, that's the only thing that I think we have to look forward to.
Nicely said. Veena?
It's all about choices that matters, being socially conscious, and collectively together we can drive this. Thank you.
Absolutely. I like that word collective, because it's not just about one person. It's like everybody coming together, changing mindsets. Murali?
I think, we all know that, we don't have, everyone is a leader concept. I think somebody should take a lead and then drive it to the end. That's what is going to bring us the success.
I recently got educated about JIP and grid. No, we were always having that 20% of that was going to landfill. And I recently, while conversing with Fancy, I got to know that there are suppliers who can recycle that. They goes to cement industry. So I think that education is required, and these kind of sessions, which will bring more awareness and education, I think that is required.
But challenge your architects not to use gypsum. That's what I did.
And over to.
For me, success for this would be basically where today we have to sit and fight with our stakeholders, convince them to the core, but still you get back and say, no, this is expensive and all. So when they come, when you go and give a proposal to them and they agree to what you propose and how sustainable initiatives you place and the net zero goals that you have, the day they agree to that, and that's what I would call it success.
Yeah, fantastic. Because it just has to be like driven top down. So if I could just go through the other set of slides, I mean, I just wanted like quickly kind of give you some very, very broad examples just so that you can think in this fashion. If you could just go back to those, yeah. So I just wanted to end it a little bit with this because I think it's important to understand that, you move on to the next. There are things that we can do as an industry, right? To the next slide. You know about the T-shirts that are made from PET bottles. Then, all of the stuff that is like thrown in the dump from fabrics out of textile waste, bikes which are thrown, you can make things out of it. These are all on the internet. If you actually go and see it, there's a lot of information available in the next. It's how conscious that we approach this. A lot of schools right now are teaching kids how to design fabric, That's the baseline, okay? From things like bioluminescent plastic beads that, it's like from plankton in the sea, and then dive into dumpsters, get wires, make fabric out of it. Just move to the next. And then, things that are easily doable. It's like on the left side is a very old workplace, right side is the very same old workplace with everything recycled back in there. Another thing that you can do, and I think Sriram can add to that as well. Next one. Yeah, so just keep moving to the left, the last one. So this is some conscious way I think that we need to, even if Signify is here right now as a partner, they have something called leading light. You don't even have to spend on
Over 60 years ago, I followed my heart into Africa to study chimpanzees. 35 years later, my heart led me out of the forest to help save the natural world. And today, there are still so many reasons for hope. I haven't met an endangered species anywhere in the world where there isn't a group of people who are fighting to save it. Young people, once they know the problems and are empowered to take action, they are changing the world. Nature is amazingly resilient. Even the places that we've utterly destroyed, nature will reclaim that land and once again make it beautiful. It was my mother who said, if you're going to do a thing, give it all you got. Everybody is asking me, where do you get the energy to carry on? It's partly that I care passionately. I suppose on top of that, I'm pretty pig-headed and I'm not going to give in.
So that was Jane Goodall, and she's like 90 plus, and she's bothered. And if we can be as bothered as her, there's so much we can do as an industry. So I just wanted to end it with that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions? 15 minutes early. Oh, just take a quick question. Yeah.
I'll finish it quick.
No, no, no.
To the panel, just a inquisitiveness out of inquisitive, I'm asking you a question. With the regulations going down, in the sense the FSI calculations have gone up, there are a lot of buildings that are coming up for redevelopment, repurposing. There's a lot of smaller or shorter buildings that are going to be demolished and taller ones would come in their place. How do you see India handling that sort of construction waste? It will again go into the landfill or something else is planned for that?
Honestly, it's a great question. In terms of the construction waste management from the government per se do not have, what do I say, regulatory monitoring requirements, when you're demolishing. And when you are building it, you are giving an affidavit and you're saying that you will behave yourself and whatnot. And that's when, like a Bangalore BBMP or BDA gives you approvals. But in terms of, construction debris, how you handle is not really taken center stage by the government. But there are a lot of organizations who are working on, educating people and willing to support them to, use them as an appropriate way of disposal. But honestly, I'm yet to see one.
Okay. One more small question to the interior designers.
Sorry.
All the glass wool that has
I think
gone into
Rashmi,
the, sorry.
No,
All-
no, on the previous question.
Okay.
Since you said that you've not seen any, we have in fact been working with partners to develop them. Because the challenge has always been this. We don't know, a lot of times projects will say that, oh, my contractor will take the debris and then out of sight, out of mind. I have no idea what they're going to do with it, right? So, and one of our pain points have always been construction debris. Of all the other ways that we have been able to tackle, this one thing is a beast that, we have yet to find a way to tame. But that's the reason with working with our procurement team and our sustainability teams, we are actually coaching vendors and developing vendors to really look at it end to end and to bring in some of that knowledge that we already have, back to the front. So that's the only way, because we'll have to work with that ecosystem to really develop it further. Sorry, please go ahead with your question.
Thank you. On the interior designers who are
There's only
upcycling,
one here.
who are talking about upcycling the workspaces, there was a lot of glass wool that was used in the ceiling tiles, the mineral fiber.
Lot of what?
Glass wool. Remember, for the insulation, and it was also used for acoustics. That when you demolish and remove it, it goes into the landfill, it causes a lot of harm to the environment. And there are no regulations to take care of. Is there a way somebody has found a solution to handle glass wool waste?
I'll throw that at, can you take it, Sriram? Because he's a
Want to answer?
sustainability expert, I'm just hoping that he can help with this question.
All the 2x2 ceilings are gone now. There are no ceilings at all, false ceilings.
I mean, the right answer would be that you should not use it. There are other alternatives for
Stop
insulation.
using
now.
it.
Yeah.
It was used.
It
a
was
long
used
time back,
earlier, right?
yeah.
So the glass recycling is a very common thing. Bangalore, like Murli and Rashmi said, is probably the recycle capital of the country. If it is segregated well, there are enough vendors, and I can talk offline about how you can get that glass part recycled. Yeah, laminated is gone. Yeah. Oh, the delay.
The acoustic.
Not yet. There's no other no way today. It's gone. So that is where the answer is. And actually, I was going to add to what Murli said. So to answer your question, short answer is no. There is no solution.
I feel again, these kind of materials, once we have done such mistakes, and architects, it starts from architects, stop
Yeah.
suggesting such material. Exactly, right.
So the way would be
Right, right. I think we didn't have enough time to discuss on that.
Yeah.
That is one area we can talk a lot about how we can bring that control at the design stage and sourcing stage, and also bringing, working along with procurement to create that kind of awareness among suppliers and get into the sustainable products.
the thing missing there, and I was going to ask Murli, and I'm glad he spoke about it, is goal setting is gone. The idea of sustainability is a very loose, esoteric idea. Somebody said in a conference I was speaking that India is a lagta hai country. Ye sustainable lagta hai karte hain, right? So that won't work. If you have a tangible goal and tangible design goal, and one thing just to add to Murli, and I'd like to tell to everybody here is you should start thinking building as a material bank. You think of building as, huh?
I'm very sure there are solutions to dispose the glass wool. I think I will throw out to all the audience. There is a good startup already a pitch. I will be the first investor. So there's a great scope for some of these specialized items recycling. I think that should be a thought for all of you when you go drive back home. Think about it.
Okay, so we'll quickly take a wrap. We are holding a lot of people from their dinner, and including you all. So, ladies and gentlemen, a huge round of applause to each of them here today. It was one of the most fabulous topics and very close to my heart too. So I'm going to quickly call on stage Saurabh Das from Hafle and Saurabh Agarwal from Wellspun to give our speakers a small token of appreciation from our end. So I'm going to quickly get them on and have them here. Fancy, thank Next, we have Ms. Girita. Thank you so much, Girita. Because one person when you talk, you just talk about your passion. You can just come on stage. We can quickly hand over. Hi, Satya. Of icon media India after the era stage kind of campus
Thanks so much for spending this lovely evening with us. Uh, Bangalore as a city is built on design, and that's why we always do the design summit, the smart office summit at Bangalore. That's why it's our preferred city. We believe in creating great content for you guys, and we look forward to doing way more things in this city. So please stick around and have some dinner and have a couple of drinks, and we'll look forward to seeing you all again very soon. Thank you.